heck, I'll interview all, it was like 6 or 7 people I interviewed, but they all like, they looked up our website, they knew about our company, and they applied because they really related to what we were doing. You know, I had one that said, you know, her mom worked for a company that worked with people with disabilities, and it just kind of hit, you know, pulled on our heartstrings. It was close to her. There was just a lot of people that just, they just wanted to work with us, and I thought that was pretty cool. It wasn't just, you know, people didn't know what was going on. So I was able to interview a bunch of people. I found somebody that was actually in Jacksonville, and she said, you know, basically it's whatever we need, you know. So she had a pretty good skill set as a consultant, a business consultant. So she's like, you know, we kind of discussed where we're at as a company, and she kind of said, you know, here's the things that I usually help people with, and I can customize something to you, and we could do a 1 hour a week, we could do a 1 hour every other week, 2 hours, whatever you want to do. So I thought that was really cool. It's not like, you know, a set format. It's, you know, basically just get a coach and they're going to work with you on the pace that you want to go. So that has been really cool. And then I relayed my experience to our team, and I was like, hey, you guys got to check this out. This is pretty awesome. Because, you know, everybody was asking for some type of training and coaching, you know, and I basically showed them, this is it. This is what we're, you know, this is something to check into at least. So we got, I got basically one person to bite in and take, you know, check it out. And she, one of my directors took on a public speaking coach to help her with her public speaking, because she's doing lots of presentations, and she got real excited about it and then told the others about it. And then they started jumping in, and one of them's did a performance review training. That's something that we're restructuring. So she wanted to learn more about that. So she got with somebody that was a professional on that. And then another one did a managerial professional type leadership coach that she's working with as well. And then they all bought in. So they pushed it to their middle managers, their area managers. And so we have a few different programs. One of them's an assessment program. One of them's an adult program. The other one's a youth program, and they all run kind of individually under their program director. But our adult team has five area managers, and each one of them decided to take on their own coach. Their feedback's been awesome. They all said that they've been taking like personality tests, and you know, they're starting to really just learn about the different personalities that are out there and how to manage people better. And then our youth program decided to go and do a coaching session as a team. So they're going to have three of them are all going to do a coaching session together, which they thought was pretty cool. There was one called a mental fitness boot camp that one of the coaches brought in that they're having a really great experience with. We have a guy that does logistics, kind of scheduling and such. So he found a coach that helps with streamlining and efficiency. That's kind of their specialty. So that worked great. We have a training team, and they are actually they're in the process. We started last year building a LMS. So they found somebody that is really great at structuring LMSs, and so they're going to start working with them real soon. We got our HR team doing a handbook revision, our CFOs doing a coach, and then our marketing team, there's a lot of marketing stuff on Catch a Fire. So they got really excited about this. You know, like most nonprofits, you kind of do a lot with a little. So they have a couple people in the team, but they were able to kind of look at this as extending out, you know, what they can do and taking on more capacity. So they're doing a project on search engine optimization. They're doing a video creation project. They have a marketing strategy project, and they also have somebody helping them build an annual report. So honestly, I think all 140 of our employees will be using this program before probably the end of the year. We're super excited about it. I mean, there's just so many great options out there. The cost to be able to have all these professionals work with you would be unaffordable. So we're really grateful for the opportunity to work with this. It's so you know, so open. Like we can use these as many times as we want. I mean, you could go into like your coaching project and get a coach, and they fulfill their, you know, 40 hours, 20 hours, whatever, and then go get another coach, and it's going to be a total different training. So that was really cool. You know, we're extremely grateful for the opportunity to use this. That it's, man, we just can't take enough of it.
Well, that's great. You guys have really taken the deep dive into really strengthening your entire organization and really tapping into all those different levels, marketing and HR and, individual managers, and really connecting everyone at your organization with those opportunities.
Yeah, and everybody's had amazing feedback. They've all said, "Man, this is incredible." The one young lady that's doing the public speaking, she loves politics, and she found somebody that was they were working under the Obama administration at one point. So, how cool is that? Just getting when I was doing interviewing the people that applied for mine, there were some of them, there was like a two-person team that did coaching, and they were just really excited to work with me. And then there's different coaches that kind of specialized in different areas. So it did take a little while to interview through, and I'm glad I interviewed all of them, because the one I found was actually perfect for what I was looking for. And I'm
Hmm.
still actually excited. I do want to go back and try to work with some of the other ones that were there, because they were all really exciting. So
Yeah. Well, thank you. All right, we're going to ask everybody to turn their video back on and join us on screen. And we're going to do some group question and answers. And one of the first questions that came through was, to talk a little bit more about the interview process. For Catch a Fire, it's a double buy-in. So they have to they have to want to work with you, and you have to want to work with them. And there is an interview scheduling process where you can interview these interview applicants that have expressed an interest. So maybe talk a little bit about how you went about that process and what you might have looked for in your applicants, but also the diversity. So that can be geographic, but there's also people that are bringing, their skills and what they do, or maybe they have a connection to your organization, but maybe they don't. So who wants to kick us off first?
I can.
All right, Michelle.
I think I mentioned when I was speaking about how I was attracted to the one gentleman's bio that had been helping small businesses during the pandemic, but there was another situation that usually the process started where I would get notified saying someone's interested in your project, and it could be 2 or 3 different people. So I would go read their bios, see who was interested, and most of the time somebody jumped out at me that had a connection either to what we were doing in some way, or they had something, a skill that I was interested in. One of the young ladies who did a graphic design project for us had in her bio that she was interested in working with groups that served people with disabilities, because she had a younger brother with a disability. And she lived in Canada and was a talented graphic artist. And same thing, we had a connection there when we were done working on the graphic design project that we talked about services for her younger brother. But they make it very easy. They schedule the call for you. Your phone will ring, and then it says, "Hi, this is Catch a Fire. We're connecting you to Guinevere, blah, blah, blah." And then you email each other after that, yes, we're going to go ahead. And do you want to work on Zoom, or do you want to do it on phone calls, however you want to do it? And then they provide you with the person's contact and email. So Catch a Fire acts as a great go-between, where you don't have to do all of those details of what's your phone number, what's your this, they handle all that for you. So it's really seamless once you start the interview process.
How about you, Brittany? How did those interviews go for you?
Yeah, just like Michelle said, there's usually that one person that will jump out at you. Specifically for our donor thank you letter, the volunteer that jumped out at me had said she actually had a disability, and she saw that there is such a need for employment services and things like that. And so I could tell she had the heart of, she could convey what we were trying to convey. And I will say I've done several interviews, and all of the potential volunteers that you're matched with are very professional. If for some reason they did miss the call, they will jump on and say, "I'm so sorry," and reset it up. So the process is very seamless. And then once you're connected, you really can take things offline, like off the platform. And just afterwards, you can rate them, give them a nice review, and they can give you a nice review as well. And it's nice too, because some of the volunteers have examples of their work, what they've done for other nonprofits. So you're like, oh, wow, I like that. I can see what you did. I want something similar. Because sometimes you don't know what you want until you see it. And so that's a great way to see their work.
Yeah, and Alexandra, you had an unusual experience in that you got to physically meet your person who was coming to Miami. So tell us a little bit more about that interview process and why you selected that person.
Yeah, so just like we were just saying, I think it's definitely about finding someone that has the skill that you need and the passion. So my volunteer actually had a younger son with autism, and then also had all the experience needed to complete the marketing strategy plan. So the interview process, I knew I was going with her by the time I was finished with the call, and then from there, she was coming the next weekend and we were able to meet for lunch. And then just like Brittany said, I think we took it off of the platform and we continued through Zoom, through calls. And then it's definitely important to go back on at the end and give them the recognition that they need if they do a good job for you. So we had a very good experience with our volunteer.
Excellent. Anything else to add, Jody or Keith?
Yeah, it was great to, like I said before, I enjoyed being able to interview at least like 6, 7 people. Not everybody gets that many people to apply, but I was able to kind of understand the specialty that each one of them had, because they are a little different. They all had that category, but they may be a little different and may be suitable for you. So I thought it was beneficial to talk to multiple people and not just take the first one.
Right. And something that's important too on the platform is that your own profile and your organization profile, you really have to, complete that step, and you're really showcasing and showing your volunteers why they should be working with your organization. So it's really cultivating a whole new group of people that you might not otherwise come into contact with. So I'm sure you all have thought about different ways to keep some of these people in your loop organizationally as part of your supporters. So any strategies around that?
I think that I'll chime in. I think that something that I probably need to do, but I will do, is just do a follow-up with how, well, specifically with one of our event flyers was for around the holidays. We did Silent Night, which is targeted to those who we serve who are deaf and hard of hearing. And so she did the event flyer for me. And so after the event, I sent her some pictures of the people that we serve, the kids, and just told her how many people came and just a thank you. And I think that really made her day to say, wow, I did the event flyer, not a part of the event, I'm not there, but this is the return on how it was successful for them.
Some really good follow-up. Yeah, that would be really good. I did see over the Christmas holidays, we had a couple of people on the platform design their Christmas cards with assistance of Catch a Fire. So that's in there somewhere as a template. So if you want to plan ahead, you can always do that. Excellent. So let's see, I had another question that came in here. I guess it comes back to volunteers as well. So managing this, the managing of the process, how is it similar to what you're already doing? I think Brittany, you had talked about you're on a couple of the other platforms. Can you just recap that, what you shared there about how the management process goes, and really after Brittany, if anyone else can chime in on that, because one of the questions that I did get was, how different is this from the volunteers that I already have? Why should I get on this platform to do something else in a different way?
So I would say how this platform is different. I'm kind of putting it towards like volunteermatch.org, which is really project based. Catch a Fire is like an industry, or not programmatic, but it is project based. But these are seasoned professionals. So it's not just somebody to stuff letters or to man a walk a 5K walk or pass out water, those kind of things. These are, people that have recently graduated, people that are in between jobs, high level marketing people, consultants in the industries. Like, I think it was Michelle that said somebody that worked for Bentley, that bring a level of expertise that if you had to pay, like Keith said, for these, consultants and these coaches, I mean, they're thousands of dollars, and these people are willing to give this to you. They want to give back to you. So the management is, be respectful of their time, act like you were paying for it. If you were paying thousands of dollars out of your agency budget for a coach, you're going to be on top of it, right? So I would say, you got to be the driver, but they're treating it like a professional experience and like you're one of their clients, honestly. So just connect with them, do the interviews promptly, get the project started, give them the feedback. If you set up deadlines, stay on top of your deadlines, connect with them. If there is an issue, if you had something pop up, reschedule, and just treat it like a professional relationship. That's how I would manage it.
Good tip. Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll just mention, on the Catch a Fire platform, they have some webinars, and one of the quotes said, "It's not your average webinar." Well, these volunteers are not your average volunteer either. Really, they are, you're getting a volunteer for something that you would be paying for. It's that level of professionalism and expertise and knowledge that you're getting. So it's not your average volunteer.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Anyone had to end a relationship early? That was a question that came in.
No.
That's good to hear.
Feedback's been awesome for every single one of them so far.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Any final words from our panelists today?
I just want to thank you so much again for giving us this opportunity. It's really a gem. I mean,
It has been a real pleasure of the Able Trust, and really this has been a commitment of the Able Trust Board of Directors and the staff to really invest in our organizations that we are partnering with around the state, because you all are doing great work, and this sort of organizational assistance and capacity building, these are really hard things to get grant support for. These are not very interesting or sexy projects for the grant review team. So it's really hard to get help to pay for these types of assistance, but it's essential to providing services and to be engaged in a really great way with our constituents. So it's really been just a real pleasure for us to be involved and make the opportunity available. And I did want to say that this is the first of a two-part series. So I will be sending out after this the link to register for the April webinar, which our hosts will be Catch a Fire, and they will be jumping in with us. I believe we have Jean back again, and they will be jumping in with like the Catch a Fire 201. So if you did not get a chance to catch up on the October webinar, that is available on our catchafire.org page. And you can refresh there, and we will be having round 2 in April. So go ahead and pen that date into your calendar, but that's April 7th, and that will be hosted by Catch a Fire. So I'll be sending out that link. But I want to challenge you, because that date is 4 weeks from pretty much today, I believe. So what can you do in that 4 weeks? What projects could you get started? Because I think coming to that webinar with another level of experience, another jump in, if you're just getting your feet wet, don't worry, you're not behind. You can jump in and get started and bring that level of experience to our session next month with Catch a Fire. So, and I want to hear about it. So if you've jumped in with a project, I can see that you've done the project, but I don't know the happy details or where you want to be taking this project and what it means to you. So connect with me, and I'd love to get on the phone and talk about it, or you can send me an email, and I'd love to know more about what that project is. So I'll be looking for who jumps in that hasn't been registered yet, or who has registered but hasn't done a project yet, or maybe you did a project last December, but you haven't done anything since then. I can kind of see that on my back end of the administration part of this. So I'll be looking for all those folks that really take those next steps between now and April 7th, which is just 4 weeks away. So really thank you to all of our panelists that were on today for sharing. And we had a little glitch with recording, so we only got about half of it. So I apologize for that, because you guys had some amazing things to share, and I really appreciate that. I want to tell everybody that they should reach out to these folks, get connected on LinkedIn, and find each other and support each other in the growth that we are all involved in. If you have not already followed the Able Trust on LinkedIn, please do find us on there. We are there, and we want to also get connected with you all. And I think that you all should get connected with each other. Since you guys are all high flyers around the state, let's get out and support each other in the work that we are trying to do. So we'll have some follow-up material for you. We'll have about a half of a webinar recording that we can share with you, and I apologize for that. But I will be sending out the link for April. Register, and I will see you online. And thank you for everybody for participating today from the Able Trust Board and Directors. We appreciate it so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.